The Artificial Intelligence Narcissists. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. People occasionally ask, H.G., how on earth did you narcissists manage before social media, before the internet? Well, we did. We had a different range of manipulations. Of course, much of what we did was in person, because that's the way that we get the most fuel. In-person interactions are always preferred by the narcissist ultimately, because that is the way that the largest amount of fuel is provided to us. The way you look, the look in your eyes, your facial expression, your body language, the words you say, the tone, all of those combine to provide us with a huge amount of fuel, and therefore our narcissism prefers that we interact with you in person. That's why many narcissists move with undue haste away from a dating website or an online interaction to meet you in person. Not all necessarily do. There may be other factors governing the fact that you're kept online. But where you show that promise, that potential, most narcissists will look to try and hook up with you in the flesh, because that serves our needs the most. Thus, pre-internet, we would meet up with you. We would engage with people in certain hunting grounds, the pub, nightclubs, gyms, ones which are similar today. Dependent upon the type of narcissist with regard to cadre, there'd be a variety of different hunting grounds, libraries, lit and fill societies, work. You can learn more about those hunting grounds in my book, Sitting Target. But a lot of it was done in person. Of course, there was also the fact that we would use the telephone. Long conversations on the telephone, although, of course, the individual didn't know who was calling, wasn't in a position to block the call. It was simply a case of either staying on the line, as often they would do, or having the discipline to put the phone down when they realized who they were speaking to. The letter was commonly used as well, as I've mentioned in other videos and blog articles. The art of writing a particular type of letter is something that's largely lost these days. But in the pre-internet age, me and my kind, particularly those of us that are of intelligence, would utilize letters as a fantastic means to hoover people to draw them in. The receipt of a letter also, of course, provided us with fuel and may signal that a person was under control or coming under control. The fuel from a letter is not huge. The written word is far less voluminous in terms of fuel provision compared to that of an in-person interaction. But nevertheless, a well-written, romantic letter would go a long way to seducing somebody. We, of course, would buy gifts. One could walk past a person's place. Ever-presence could be established through a variety of means. But when the internet came along, and with it social media, we really were provided with a playground. Everything could happen faster. It extended our reach. Once upon a time, it would be more likely to involve yourself with somebody local. Now, anybody around the world could be drawn into the fuel matrix. It created virtual fuel matrices rather than the in-person ones. It enabled us to have many hucks in the water all at once, like some kind of fisherman in cyberspace, waiting for a bite. And then, when the line was tugged, following that up. And then, like some concert pianist, where they're playing the tune to ensure that we ensnare one victim, then moving to another victim, then back to the first, and then on to a third, and back to the second, and then to a fourth, back to the first, darting between devices as our jaws closed around the neck, metaphorically, of that individual. Different hunting grounds opened up, different opportunities to garner information about a prospect as part of the research that one would undertake before moving in to ensnare them and trap them. The internet opened up all manner of opportunities, and with it came, of course, online dating, a narcissist paradise where the unwitting stroll in with their pursuit of love and leave with a nightmare. Social media has provided us with so many opportunities to pursue the prime aims. It makes control of people far easier, far quicker. There are more people that we can reach. Yes, the interaction isn't as meaningful fuel-wise as an in-person one, but it certainly is the bridge or the road to getting to that point. It enables us to hoover far more readily. It means that no-contact regimes become more difficult to maintain because people become accustomed to that dopamine hit of the message from the narcissist, the way that we shape our conditioning of you, sending you that message at 7:30 a.m. every single day so that you wait, expectant of the chime or the tone, the glow of the phone, as you see once again the message that has arrived from us, that early morning hoover, and you feel the relief, the excitement, until one day it doesn't come. The internet and social media have become tools of the narcissist, and as you know from various of my videos, I provided a variety of means of explaining how that is so. But now, as the technology continues to advance, artificial intelligence is providing us with a further opportunity to continue our manipulations in terms of online dating scams. And this has been picked up on by Red State, that explains that con artists are now using AI-generated women in online dating scams. Artificial intelligence could be targeting you on texts, social media, and dating apps. Some victims lost thousands of dollars to people they thought were real women, but turned out to be fakes. The people behind the scheme were stealing their cash and hearts. "Hey honey, you're the best," says a woman who may look real to some, but two security experts say the video is heavily filtered with unnatural eyes and the chin blending into a neck. Jim, who asked us not to use his last name, had recently been talking to a woman who convinced him to make an investment. And then one day she's like, "Honey, I love you." And I'm like, "What?" And she goes, "I've fallen in love with you." And I said, "Well, I'm old enough to be your dad." And she said, "Well, that doesn't matter. We have a lot in common," he said. Flattery, mirroring. Notice the lack of Jim's actual name being used by the AI woman. And before long, the main thing they had in common was Jim's money, which the scammer quickly became the sole possessor of. Jim initially met her after getting a mysterious text message. He thought they had a friend in common. He said he wasn't looking to date. She goes, "I've never met anybody to be my equal. You and I have a super lot in common." And she's had an uncle who was on the board for the stock exchange in Hong Kong, said Jim. He was convinced to send $60,000 to invest in the stock exchange. He said he lost most of it because the investment tanked. Then the woman opened up an overseas crypto account in his name, but when Jim tried to take that money out, he was going to be charged thousands in upfront tax fees. Experts say it's a scam. One has to wonder if those experts are experts at belabouring the obvious, because that's surely what they've done here. It's tempting to point out that artificial intelligence is a great tool for taking advantage of natural stupidity, but we should be charitable and admit we don't know Jim's level of sophistication when it comes to online dating, AI, or common scams. But honestly, if the request to invest $60,000 didn't ring any alarm bells, it's hard to see what might. Well, of course, there are many people that fall prey to this. They fall prey to this because they're driven by emotional thinking. The creation of an AI individual to interact with a person who believes that they are real may to many people seem like idiocy to think that it's real, that you can think, well, surely you can see that they're not actually a real individual. But given the fact that Jim has been scammed in this way and many others, demonstrates that there are unscrupulous individuals that will utilize artificial intelligence to pretend to be something that they're not. Narcissists do this already, of course. How many instances are there of online dating where a narcissist will use photographs of someone who isn't them in order to manipulate people into responding, into sending nudes, into even meeting up? And then it's clear that they're not the same person, but the narcissist is unfazed by that. They may come up with some explanation. The victim, so far entranced perhaps enjoying the company and conversations, puts it to one side, and showing a naivety and a failure to see a red flag, decides, well, they don't look like the photograph, but so what? There are instances, of course, of whether narcissists will use photos from 20 years ago rather than show the current photographs. And still, the victim continues to interact with them. Their emotional thinking already pushed high as a consequence of the online interaction. The narcissist will claim to be something they're not, claiming to be an airline pilot when they simply stack shelves in a supermarket, claiming to know famous people, claiming to be able to connect that victim to the famous people, claiming to have certain difficulties which require financial assistance. Over and over again, the online narcissist cons people. Now, it's not always narcissists that engage in this behaviour, as I've explained elsewhere. A lot of criminal activity is also undertaken by narcissistic people who are not narcissists and normals, because they have no emotional empathy for the person that they're dealing with and therefore think nothing of scamming them. But many narcissists scam people both in terms of creating a relationship with them based upon something that's not accurate, or going even further and defrauding them out of money, because that accords with the narcissism that drives them to seek out control, fuel, character traits, and residual benefits. The narcissist, in pursuing those matters, once utilised, as I said at the beginning of this video, the phone, in-person activities, letter writing, in order to ensnare and hoover victims, and then moved on to utilising the various technologies that existed through the internet, through social media, through online dating. And with each technological advance, you can be assured that the narcissist will be there, looking to utilise it to his or her advantage, taking hold of it, shaping it, moulding it, applying it, utilising it to con people, whether it's being a love fraud or a monetary fraud. There will be narcissists that will take advantage of the naivety and misunderstanding of individuals and their heightened emotional thinking to cause them to believe through AI-generated faces that they're dealing with somebody else. The fact is that there are already people that strike up relationships with AI avatars. They know what they're dealing with, but they develop feelings for something which is technological in nature, that isn't human. There have been various papers that have been published about the benefits of people having a relationship with such an individual, that it staves off loneliness, that it provides them with companionship. And therefore, this reliance upon technology and the ability to utilise it in a way which cons people means that with the increasing advantages that come with artificial intelligence, that the way that it is useful in terms of becoming more and more sophisticated, you can be assured that there will be a narcissist somewhere that will use it to portray themselves as something they are not, and to con more people just like Jim. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.